Welcome back to another video by the Canadian Home Painter. Today's video I'm going to be demonstrating the process and the technique that I use to repair broken tape in a drywall joint. So this happens from time to time where the tape will give way, and it could be for a number of reasons, even just the way it was applied when it was first done. So this was very easy to see on this ceiling. It was bubbled and cracked. So what I'm doing here is just using my knife in a couple areas to loosen it up. But once I had it, I could easily just pull it along with my hand. So I'm just going to make sure that the tape is all out of the joint where it was broken away and bubbled. And for a repair like this, the best thing is to totally remove that tape and put new tape in. So you're going to be retaping that drywall joint start to finish. Now, the broken piece was only a certain length. The rest had no visible damage or issues going on. So I only removed the bad parts of the tape. Once the tape is completely removed from that bad section, you just want to go over it. Make sure you get any loose pieces. Then you're ready to apply the mud. For this process, I'm going to use my 6-inch wide drywall knife, and I'm going to fill up that cavity with the drywall compound. So this is just pre-mixed drywall compound that you buy in a tub. Then I'm just using the paper tape to cover that joint. And I just push it in there with my fingers a bit. When you're repairing a taping, or when you're doing a taping repair, you want to make sure that you don't have it too much out of the joint. You want to smooth it out with your drywall knife, but you don't want it to be totally gone, right? This is the adhesive. This is what holds the tape on the joint, right? So I'm not using a ton of pressure when I scrape my drywall knife along the paper. I am trying to get the excess away, but you still want there to be enough underneath that tape. Because if you were to really put a lot of pressure and really squeeze out all that mud, well, you could have issues with it sticking properly. So after my first coat is nice and dry, then, and I leave it for quite a bit of time because I have other things to do, then I use my 12-inch drywall knife to apply my first real coat of drywall compound across the tape. For this process, I'm not going to have it feathered out to its maximum width, but this is the beginning process. So that's a 12-inch drywall knife. By the time my first real coat is applied, it will be a bit wider than the foot in width, and I'll let that dry. You're always wanting to give it a sufficient amount of time to dry. Put a fan on, let a fan blow some air up onto the area that you've coated. Now this is my second coat, and as you can see, now I'm going about 2 feet, feathering it out. So in these scenarios, you don't want to see where you've done the repair. And the best way that I've ever found doing drywall compound is the feathering out, making it as wide as you're able to, and that will prevent you from seeing a hump in the ceiling or in the wall or wherever you're doing your repair. So with the second coat, I'm almost getting it to, as wide as I want. But you'll see I even go a little bit wider with the third coat, and with this area, I did put on a light fourth coat even. I put it on very thin. I know some guys will put it on a lot heavier, but I'm doing no sanding at all in between these coats. And by the time I get to the very end, you'll see how little sanding I really have to do, and that is because I put it on very thin, which, it may require an extra coat, but I really don't mind. If it saves me from having to do a lot of sanding, then, I always find that that's a better alternative. So this is coat number 3 that I'm applying here now. Same process, same drywall knife. I actually do have a wider drywall knife, but I typically really do like using this 12-inch, and it doesn't have a real wide or like a long blade on it. And for repairs like this, I do find that it just works really well. Now with the drywall compound, it's never a bad idea, even though it comes pre-mixed, is to get a mixer and put it in your drill and, stir it up. You want to mix it up for a few minutes before you use it. So as you can see, it's probably close to 3 feet in width. So by the end, I'm about 3 feet feathered out. Always a bit heavier in the middle, and then as I get to the edge, I get really, really close. I'm at that point, at the furthest points on the edge, I'm really applying a lot of pressure. I don't want there to be much of a ridge there to sand off. The trick with drywall, it's you want to find that happy medium. You never want to put it on too heavy. You never want to put it on too light. So there is that happy medium. But you will feel it in your forearms, like on the very ends, or the furthest point where I have it feathered out. I am putting quite a bit of pressure, trying to get away that excess and make it as smooth as possible. As you can see too in the video, I'm starting out, going down the middle on my third coat here. So a full foot down over the tape, and then a full foot pretty much right beside. It's so good for repairs, and for there not to be a hump in the middle, because you're building with tape in the mud. You're already building down from a flat surface, really. So if you stay too concentrated in that middle portion, then the tendency is once you paint it, you may see a bit of a hump where you have, too much mud, obviously. So the wider you can go, obviously, the more it's going to blend. So that's the third coat, I believe. Oh, maybe I just did 3. And now what I'm doing is just using a pole. So this is just a painting pole, and then with a sponge sanding block on the end. Now they are kind of expensive. They're about $8 or so, but they really sand out nice. They're a foam sponge sanding block. You can get coarse ones or fine ones. So for this, I would use a coarse one, and that would get a lot of the majority of the mud off that needs to be sanded. Then what I do is take a ladder. I do like to wear a mask, and I'll put my hood up if I have it to keep it from getting in my hair. But I'm going to get right up there close, and with a smaller sponge hand sanding block, I'm going to just make sure the edges are really sanded down, totally smooth. The sanding block on the pole will get the bigger stuff off. It'll get you a good start, but by no means is that your finished sanding. For your finish, you want to get right up there with your block and be really close so you can just see any imperfections at all. Sand them out very lightly. You'll get a feel for it. The biggest thing is your edges around the outside. You want to just make sure, but in the middle, you just want to make sure that everything is looking nice and smooth before you start with the priming, of course. So then what I'm doing now, just coat of primer over top before the paint will be applied. And this repair turned out great. I mean, you can't see where it was at all. So I'm very confident if you follow this technique that I have showed you in this video, you shouldn't have a problem doing a great job on your own repair. There's nothing worse than painting over a terrible drywall job or a terrible repair job. So take your time, do it right, and you'll be pleased with how it turns out. So you definitely want to make sure you put a good coat of primer on before you paint. You don't want to just go over any repairs without primer. Primer really acts to conceal any of the repairs. The paint, you may see where the drywall was repaired if you just paint over it. So always prime over any spots that were repaired with drywall compound. It'll just really help to make that just disappear, and you won't have to see it. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe, share it, leave a comment or a question. I do appreciate the interaction with my subscribers or anyone that watches my videos. So yeah, thanks a lot, and hopefully you found this helpful.